Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Is XRP purely speculative? Well, frankly, every asset you can purchase is speculative to one degree or another, but when people say stuff like this, it's typically with the implication, at a minimum, if not explicitly stated, that there's nothing more to XRP or whatever crypto you want to talk about than simple speculation. It doesn't do anything. Now, of course, in the case of XRP, it functionally is useful. And so a lot of the people that say this stuff, they're either being disingenuous or they're so ill-informed, because XRP is used in enterprise-grade software today as a bridge currency. It's used for settlement on the Coil platform, which has created a new form of web monetization where you stream money in real time. There's an endless number of use cases for XRP. It's not just speculation, but speculation in and of itself isn't bad anyway. Like, markets need that. And so I hate seeing people then in power, the elites, if you will, make such statements, and then the typical normies out there, I think they don't understand, how the world operates necessarily. Like, you just hear something like this, if you're not involved in crypto specifically, you might hear, oh, my gosh, well, that does sound scary and bad. Yeah. And then on top of that, you've got the SEC coming after Ripple, making those exact claims. And so I've been beating back against this idea for half a year roughly now, specifically on the SEC front right there. It's pure silliness. And so attorney John Deaton, who is a member of the XRP community, and he's also the attorney that is seeking to intervene in the SEC versus Ripple case, he spoke out on this topic, and I wanted to share with you some of his thoughts because I think he's absolutely hitting the nail on the head. But I do want to be clear at the outset that I don't have a legal or financial background of any kind. I am not offering legal or financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just a simple little moon Lambo. I like making YouTube videos as a hobby, but that is all that it is. It's fun stuff here. So into John Deaton's comments here. He wrote the following, and this is in response, by the way, from a headline about the Bank for International Settlement stating, quote, "We believe Bitcoin is a speculative commodity that should be controlled accordingly." Just a speculative commodity. Well, here's what John Deaton said to that. "I'm so sick of hearing how Bitcoin and crypto assets are, quote, speculative, end quote, and investors need additional regulations in order to protect them. The SEC, in its opposition against XRP holders, repeatedly used the word speculative. The entire investing market is built around speculation." And so I'll pause right there. Absolutely correct. The reason that regulators do this, and it's to frame things in a particular way that will make it more reasonable for them to have a position where there should be increasing regulations and control over it, because that is what they want ultimately here. And so part of this is just framing things in people's minds in a particular way. That's it. It's manipulation, effectively. That is what it is. Now, in the case of XRP and crypto, there are going to be dire consequences if this goes to the negative. If you have over-regulation, you are going to obliterate innovation. Entrepreneurs will leave the United States, and it'll slow things down. And it's not that ultimately innovation won't occur. It just wouldn't occur in the United States. And so it's just a shame that there still are a lot of people that have a problem with this. Now, I think if you fast forward a few decades down the road, because think about this. Who's buying crypto now? Well, people of all age groups, but certainly a lot of people that are my age and younger, a lot of them younger than me. I mean, mind you, I'm 38 years old, so I'm not that old, not that young, but there are all sorts of people that are young, so they're growing up with this. Do you think that when they're in positions of powers in the coming decades, that you'll be seeing nonsense like this in the future? Well, of course not. They're not going to be betting against their own interests. They're growing up with this stuff, and they're going to invest in it heavily. And the crypto asset class is going to be substantially bigger than it is today, XRP included. I think if you fast forward a few decades, the pricing that we see for XRP today is going to look like nothing. That's my suspicion. And this is not financial advice. Again, I can't know that for sure, but I'm just saying, based on the way that it's actually being adopted, the fact that it's functionally useful, so long as that persists, XRP is never going to go away, because solving problems, that represents value. And you get that value because of the utility of XRP. If something's valuable, people are not going to kick it to the curb. You could have governments come in and force bad things to happen, but I'm not convinced that's going to happen either. But as a result of that, the fact there's value, people won't kick it to the curb. And instead what will happen is it will increase in price. If there's an asset that makes that value possible, because mind you, price and value are different things. And when I'm talking about value, I'm talking about the problem being solved. But if there's a value that is that people recognize, they won't kick it to the curb. If there's an asset that makes that possible, they're not going to kick that to the curb. And in this case, we're talking about XRP as a bridge currency and a number of other use cases. That's helpful. That's extremely helpful. It's not just going to magically go away. I don't know what would supplant XRP for all of these use cases that it's dominating at the moment here. And so John Deaton continues. Whether you are long Amazon stock or you have a short position, you are speculating. The CFTC chairman has declared Bitcoin and Ethereum as commodities. XRP and others should be treated the same. We already have regulations in place in the US, and the CFTC can enforce those regulations. Right, exactly. And so you need to differentiate between, if you're talking about how we like the oranges themselves and the entirety of the scheme, which represented an investment contract. And I'm going to have to assume at this point that you're aware of the Howey case. If not, I'm sorry, it's too far outside the scope of this video for me to talk about it any further. But so similarly, when you're talking about XRP, you should be able to differentiate between XRP if it's sold as an investment contract versus XRP. I don't care what you want to call it, whether you want to call it a commodity or you want to call it a virtual currency. I don't care, but it sure as hell, by the nature of it existing, is not a security. And so, if you're going to declare that Bitcoin and ETH are commodities, then XRP should be too, right? And then if XRP is sold as an investment contract, then fine, go after the people that are doing that, fine. But that's true of anything. Gold, take oranges. Oranges are not securities, but you can sell them in such a way with orange groves that represents a securities because it could be an investment contract, right? But that doesn't mean the oranges themselves are. And so I think he's absolutely spot on here, and XRP needs to be recognized for what it is. And so you guys out there, you elites, you decide what term you want to call it, but it better not be security, because that doesn't make any damn sense. I don't care if you want to call it a commodity, and then the CFTC by default is over all this. But whether it's that or, I don't care, virtual currency, it doesn't matter to me as long as it's not security. That doesn't make any damn sense. I'm not saying these things shouldn't be regulated. I'm just saying that the way that it's being handled right now is irresponsible and damaging to entrepreneurs and investors alike. And then John Deaton continued. Everyday hedge fund and commodity traders speculate on everything: gold, silver, copper, corn, soybeans, wheat, oil, etc. The call for additional regulations regarding crypto by people like Senator Elizabeth Warren is because they are threatened that the government loses power and control. Yeah, no kidding. I couldn't agree with you more on that. And so, speaking of power and control, take a look at this. John Deaton he actually talked about this a bit. What he got into in these next comments has to do in large part to do with penalizing perhaps people that shouldn't be penalized. Because I think that the rich people, they get a bad rap mostly from people that want to play on others' emotions. I certainly see that. Like, I'll tell you what, here's how I felt growing up, not having any money. I looked at rich people and I was like, wow, they became very successful. Maybe I can do that too. And then people that are just have a completely different outlook on life, they're like, oh my God, they have that much wealth. They must have stolen it from someone. It's just like two completely different ways of looking at the world. But the truth is that money is not a zero-sum game. So it's not that anything was stolen from somebody. If there was a finite amount of wealth, then what would have happened over the last 100 years as like billions and billions of new humans have entered the world? Like, obviously the world's better off than it was 100 years ago, right? Well, it's because more money is created over time, right? It just is. It's a thriving economy. There's so many moving parts to all this. But check out what John Deaton had to say about this. He wrote, "Why are the elites and bureaucrats against cryptocurrencies? Senator Elizabeth Warren, AOC, and Senator Bernie Sanders should not blame Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos for paying a significantly less percentage of their income than the rest of us. The blame is on the politicians and Congress. Congress passed the tax laws that these billionaires take advantage of." Yeah, and also, to be clear here, so like truly wealthy people, you must understand this, they're not making their money from payroll. Even if they're on payroll, if the company they own or whatever they're doing, fine. But their true wealth, like they've already earned their money, and then they put their money to work by investing it. And so the money that they put into their investments, it's already been taxed. So, after that, and then it does get taxed again, frankly, at hold an asset for a year, then it's taxed at the long-term tax in the United States anyway. I understand, of course, it varies around the world, but in the United States, after hold it for a year, to get taxed at the long-term capital gains tax rate, which is 20%. Typically for assets. Anyway, but John Deaton continues, Congress passed the laws that these billionaires take advantage of. There is a moral and legal difference between tax avoidance, which is legal, and tax evasion, which is illegal. If Amazon paid no federal income taxes in 2018, who do we blame? We can't blame Bezos. He did nothing wrong. In fact, if Bezos would have said, it's not right for Amazon to pay zero in taxes, so I'm going to send the United States Treasury $15 billion, he and Amazon would have been sued by shareholders for violating his fiduciary duty to act in the best interests of Amazon shareholders. Amazon's stock price would have also crashed. Elon Musk doesn't take a salary. Instead, he borrows money by using his 100 plus million shares of Tesla stock as collateral and then utilizes the interest as a tax deduction. It's a legal and fairly straightforward tax strategy. Now, digital assets can potentially offer the little guy or gal a similar strategy. We use our crypto assets as collateral and take out fiat loans to pay for our living expenses. The interest we pay can be offset by the passive income we collect. Yet, the elites are against it. And so it is interesting to see how they want to control crypto. They don't want you to have that same freedom. They want to regulate to such a degree that you can't participate. In fact, you're not a sophisticated enough investor to purchase stocks unless they're being publicly traded. In which case, the people that had enough money, they could have chose to invest earlier and maybe get a better deal than you. Like, this stuff actually happens because you're too stupid for your own good. That's what the government thinks. I don't like that. I don't think I'm too stupid for my own good. I think that the government, I talk about Bitcoin maxi trolls being stupid and they have to wear Velcro shoes and a helmet and like they need help getting the shirts on in the morning. I think the same is true of the federal government, frankly. The federal government's wearing Velcro shoes. That's seriously. And it's I get it. It's easier than tying, so maybe they're going to see. No, it's not that we don't know how to tie issue. It's just easier. Yeah. Okay, guys. All right. you justify your Velcro shoes like what here, but look, I think also a lot of people are going to make a lot of money because of crypto wealth, and I love that. It's just the greatest transformation of wealth in the history of mankind. It's been happening for over a decade now, and it's going to continue to happen for the foreseeable future. And that's why, I had a meeting with my accountant yesterday, and we talked a little bit about cryptocurrency, and I told her, I said, you know what the truth is? And I'm glad I can diversify because I like to adjust my risk exposure, but just on the whole, if I could only invest in one asset class for the next decade, I would pick cryptocurrencies. I would. On the whole, I absolutely would. Now, I prefer to diversify, and I've talked about that too, but I absolutely would pick cryptocurrency first. Because it is a tremendous wealth transfer. And so just beware, if you happen to be one of these people that have always thought that the rich are greedy, this and that, well, you wait till you become one and you see how much money is going to be taken from you by the federal government, and we'll see if you maintain that position. Because I think a lot of people are going to be singing a different tune when the taxman cometh. That would be my suspicion here, certainly. So from a fiscal perspective, that's just where I stand on all this stuff, fiscal and tax perspective. That's just my humble opinion. Now, anybody that disagrees with me, well, you can just get out. I'm kidding. I love you. If you disagree with me, that's fine. I love diversity of thought, and so hopefully nobody gets offended by opinions that are different than their own, because I don't. If somebody has an opinion that's different than mine, they don't become my enemy. I just think they're wrong, and they think I'm wrong, and I think that's how it should really just end there, though. But I love to have a thoughtful back and forth. So if anybody thinks I'm wrong, let's talk about it in the comments section below. The conversation doesn't have to end here, even though this video is. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.